they've created the pre-party to getting people to want to come to the real party. And they're doing it in just this really beautiful, seamless way that guides the prospect right into their pipeline.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to Higher Ed Pulse, your Monday morning energizer covering insights and trends in higher ed marketing and enrollment. I'm Mallory Wilsey, bringing over 15 years of ed tech and marketing expertise to your earbuds.
And I'm Seth Odell, joining the Pulse with my own adventures from leading marketing at top universities to founding Kanahoma, one of the industry's fastest growing digital marketing agencies.
Each week, we bring you the kind of insider insights you typically only find over cocktails with your pals at a conference.
It's fast, it's fun, and it's designed for you, the busy higher ed professional.
You're not just listening to another podcast.
You're checking the pulse of higher education.
Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher ed professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Higher Ed Pulse. I am your co-host, Seth, joined as always by the incredible and inspiring Mallory. Mallory, how are you?
I'm good. It's been 2 weeks in a row now that you've just used some great adjectives as you've introduced me. And so I think I need to start writing them down. You're not going to be allowed to repeat. And this is going to be my daily affirmation. And I'm just going to re-listen to these episodes and hear you say nice things about me.
Well, thankfully, Mallory, I think many nice things about you, so we can do it for many episodes, and I will not run dry. Now, we have a lot to talk about today, but before we do, today is a big day. If you're listening to this episode on the day it drops, it's a big deal in our little world of higher education. Mallory, do you want to share what is going down today?
I do, because I'm so excited to support two of my friends, Ashley Budd and Dayana Kibbolds, who you know Day, y'all, from Talking Tactics. They co-authored a book called Mailed It. It officially comes out for purchase tomorrow, but tonight is the night of their launch party. And it is here in Saratoga Springs. I have a packed house right now of all sorts of higher ed friends who have come into town just for this event. We are going to go get blowouts in a couple hours. We are making this a whole event, a whole day of fun. And I've already read the book. It's incredible. 10 out of 10 recommend it to anyone listening. We'll put a link in the show notes, of course, but I'm just so excited for my dear friends on what is such a big day for them. It's been more than a year they've been working on this. And so congrats, Ashley and Day.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm really looking forward to checking it out. Wish I could be there in person, and just really excited for them. It's always great when, friends that you admire do just awesome and amazing things. It's definitely a big day.
Yeah.
Okay, well, listen, we have a lot to talk about today, Mallory. What we're talking about today is untraditional strategies for traditional recruitment. As everybody knows, this time of year and middle, end of August marks a new recruitment cycle for traditional undergrad. And so there are all sorts of folks, if you're listening, working in enrollment, you have reps probably getting back out into the field. You're getting ready to engage a whole new class of students and families. And so it's the right time of year to start thinking about what are the strategies and tactics that we are using to recruit high school students and their parents, because the reality is obviously the purchase behaviors are changing every year and people's expectations are changing. And so we thought we'd do an episode on untraditional strategies. So we're not going to talk about the obvious stuff. We're not going to talk about list buying and direct mail and just email marketing. We're not going to talk about the things that are look, you need to do whatever you already do, fundamentals. What we wanted to share today was just unpack a handful of things, of either things that we are doing or that we're hearing other people do that are at least a little bit different. Maybe not all these are entirely untraditional, but they're just what are the kind of new emerging things that people are focusing on that we think are worth thinking about. So that way, if you work in higher ed and you recruit traditional students, this is the episode to listen to, just to kind of keep tabs on everybody else as you head out into a new recruitment season. Mallory, are you ready?
Oh, I am so ready. This is such a cool topic, and I'm excited to dig in.
Okay, I'm going to go first. I'm going to rattle off one. We'll kind of bounce back and forth. So one of the ones I want to call out is alternative calls to action for digital marketing. So obviously, traditional list buying is something that everybody does, or most folks do. Its efficacy and effectiveness is sort of declining, both due to less folks actually taking tests, which is a primary source of lists, but also due to some recent federal regulations that change opt-ins. So one of the things that we're seeing, and we've seen, and I believe I talked about in the podcast before, is at Kanahoma, we use digital marketing to support traditional undergraduate recruitment. So whether it's retargeting lists or going after new prospects. But the thing to call out is that what is the call to action when you're marketing to a high school student? And so one of the things that we have been having success with at our partners is using paid social, primarily Meta and Instagram, to drive campus visit RSVPs. So actually using the campus visit RSVP on your website as the event trigger in Google Analytics, and then spending money on Facebook and Instagram ads, and actually being able to say, it costs us $190 to get a student to RSVP to come to visit, and then what's the show rate of that? We are at a place now where your institution can quantify the cost of incremental RSVPs for campus tours using digital marketing. That is something that we are doing across a couple partners. If you're not doing it, I'd really think about it. Like, is it just drive them to a website? Is it just drive them to some superfluous RFI, which, like, what is that at this stage? You can use digital marketing, paid social specifically, to drive campus visit RSVPs, and you can get a cost per against that. That's the first one that I would encourage folks to try out this year.
Amazing. All right, I'm going to jump in with number 2. So in innovation, right, when we talk about innovation theory, sometimes innovation comes from taking two things that already exist and feel different and disparate and putting them together. So I always talk about Pringles cans in this case, right? Because it's like the tennis ball can combined with a new shape of a chip. You put it together, now you have your perfect travel snack that's not going to crush up when you're on a plane. So in that spirit, take your video and take your direct mail and put it together. And guess what? The University of Idaho does this. Adam Stoltz, the director of enrollment marketing, and his team have actually won awards on this. They have an admit packet that includes an actual video player, and they send it to every single admitted student. It's been a huge success for them. It makes them stand out. Nobody else is sending video through the mail, right? Who does that? And they get tons of social mentions, comments from families when they're on campuses. According to Adam, they just didn't even see the ROI from personal videos in digital formats. So they were like, okay, well, let's put it in an untraditional format for video and see what happens. And it's been wildly successful.
That's awesome. I love that. Sometimes it is about how do you do things differently. And if you're also competing for space and attention in the mailbox, how do you make that experience elevated and memorable? And clearly they've done that. And I have seen the tech is really, really interesting now, what you can do here. And it's so cost effective. So love that. That's a really, really good one. The second one I would say is thinking about awareness in a more targeted way. Awareness marketing, like we all do. But one of the things that you can actually do is a very targeted awareness campaign designed to increase perceived quality among parents. And so something that we have done at multiple partners is you create a version of your branded content that really speaks to the types of accolades and positioning that matters to parents. So outcome data, awards, recognitions, rankings. And what you can do is you can either just deploy that awareness ad against demographic data, so people who are likely to be parents in certain zip codes, or you can literally drive it against just web traffic off your website. So a streaming platform Mountain can do really good delivery down to the household against web traffic. And so if you drive people to a parent portal, you can literally hit their smart TV with an ad that speaks all about your awards and recognitions. And so we've actually done this for one partner where we actually went through and targeted all the zip codes in the state where they saw their application to enroll rate declining. And the concept was that if you're applying and you're not enrolling, there's probably two primary drivers for that. One is cost, and then the other is perceived quality. And so we decided to go after perceived quality because it was already a low-cost partner. And what we were able to do is actually see that we could potentially increase the application to enroll rate by zip code. So it's just basically awareness marketing is no longer this big buy TV spots. You can do literally just awareness marketing to prospective parents with ads that tell them about how you are really great and high quality. It's way easier to execute than you think. So if you're not doing that, I would highly encourage folks to consider it.
That's so fun. Great advice. And that's something people can start thinking about and doing. Yeah, might take you a little longer to put some video in a mailbox, but like you can start like making some progress on that one tomorrow.
Totally.
Very cool. All right. My next one, an unconventional strategy to getting people into your undergrad program. Yeah, we do a lot of traditional marketing, but what if you created a certificate that's not accredited and put it out to the entire world and just started, for free, having people sign up for this certificate that eventually leads them into the actual program. So I love this because BYU Pathway is the example here. And what they do is educate students on basic skills, accounting, budgeting, time management, right? Things that pretty much anyone could benefit from. And they adjust the tuition rate based off of the geographic area of where the person's coming from. So if you're coming from Venezuela, you might be paying $2 per credit hour. If you're coming from somewhere in the States, you might be paying $76 per credit hour. So they're price adjusting, which I think is innovative in and of itself. But they've created the pre-party to getting people to want to come to the real party. And they're doing it in just this really beautiful, seamless way that guides the prospect right into their pipeline. Hey there, it's Mallory, Chief Strategist of Enrollify. Higher ed is facing a leadership crisis. The demands on today's college and university leaders are skyrocketing, and talent is leaving the industry at an unprecedented rate. New leaders like you are emerging, but no one is getting the proper training to be successful. Well, Enrollify is here to change that. Our new course, Lessons in Leadership, taught by Dr. Carrie Phillips, will prepare you to be a confident, empathetic, and effective leader. From systems thinking to adaptive leadership, building culture to handling difficult decisions, this comprehensive online course is perfect for new and aspiring leaders. Don't wait. The course starts September 9th, and for a lucky group of 26 students, we have the option to add interactive sessions with Dr. Phillips for personalized guidance. Visit Enrollify.org to learn more.
I love that. I also get highlights. There's a kind of a similar sister trend, which is this growth in pre-college programs. And I think, can you take an offering like that and how far can you push it into the high school experience? More and more at the high school level, both students and parents are looking to engage colleges earlier. Pre-college programs are a great way to do that. We had one client of ours who, almost half of all their students came through a pre-college program first. Now, mind you, they were an art institution, and so it was a little different. But the idea was these are students who are going to take summer art programs, 9th, 10th, or 11th grade. And then suddenly they already love your institution. They've already spent time on campus. Can you just bypass the entire enrollment experience by engaging earlier, but not engaging in marketing, engaging in actual education? So anyways, I love that one that you highlighted. Next one for me is just elevated ways to drive engagement. Two quick ones. One, an old Twitter blast from the past friend, Brad J. Ward of Blue Fuego, gave me a tip years ago, which was to send real-time event notifications, which was that when you have an open house or you have some kind of admitted student experience online, you want to send the email exactly when the event is live. That literally there's a sense of your reminder emails were always hey, today or tomorrow. He's literally the amount of engagement that they got, and we've been able to replicate this too. When you just send a thing out live now, with this professor doing this thing. So it was a great reminder that you're already doing all the hard work of putting the event on. Send a real-time event notification. And the second one I would say is making milestones in the admissions process more socially shareable. People want to brag, and so how do you help them brag? One of the interesting nuances for traditional undergraduate is that it's difficult to always brag about the amount of money you're getting. People don't always talk about it, but what they can brag about is the types of scholarships they've gotten. And it is so easy to not just award someone $20,000, but to call it, you've been awarded the Emerging Leader Scholarship, which comes with an annual award of $20,000. And it comes with a really fancy cardstock with high gloss that says, congratulations on being identified as an emerging leader. So, the moments already exist, but just create more socially shareable moments in the admissions process.
Oh, it's all about the packaging. It's not just a socially shareable moment, but it's naming it something that sounds so cool that people can't not share it because they're proud, right? You're tapping into some like real behavioral stuff here.
Yeah, totally. And speaking of behavioral, can I hit with my last one if I can jump in if you don't mind? My last one is actually behavioral targeting and psychographic targeting in marketing. So there's a lot of types of segmentation in marketing. I think all too often, especially at traditional undergraduate level, we spend too much time doing demographic segmentation, which is we're segmenting based on where people live or their income or where they went to school. But it's very easy to segment based on behavior, meaning like what did they do on your website that tells you, and ultimately using behavior-based segmentation to imply psychographic segmentation, meaning at the end of the day, like, can we market to people around their interests, not just their academic program, but like the things they like and what they're like and who they're like. And one of the ways we do this at the adult and online level is often understanding if people have certain objections, like do they have a concern about money or is the concern about juggling school with family and work obligations? Those are different things, and you can nurture those things differently. And so behavioral segmentation is one that with web technology is much easier. And I love using behavioral segmentation as a way to kind of get at psychographic differentiation in the funnel rather than just segmenting everybody by zip code, for a whole nother year.
Say it again and say it louder, Seth. Like if you are listening, not watching this episode, like my head's been nodding like crazy, like I'm going to pull a muscle in my neck. Like this is so important. And like, this is not new advice. My entire master's program was based around this entire concept. Like this is integrated marketing communications. Behavior-based segmentation wins over demographic segmentation every single time. Start investing in the right stuff. Like, yes, please. I like don't even want to give one more because like I want to just mic drop on this one, but like, dang, like that is the advice. Do it.
I love it. Well, yeah, I think, listen, I don't know, do you have any others or should we call it there?
I've got one more. Like, I get what I'm about to say is probably not a needle most listeners can go and move, but I think something that is very untraditional that I'm starting to see happen at a couple institutions is the development of a chief revenue officer position. Now, this is very common in business, right? Like CROs are a very common C-suite title. I don't see it on a campus very often. But when we think about what that business CRO does, it's sales strategy and management. Okay, that's admissions and recruiting. It's marketing alignment. All right, we've got that. Customer success and retention. All right, we retain our customers. It's operation focused, right? You have to analyze the whole revenue process from lead gen all the way to the closure and find the opportunities to, improve and enhance that process. It's partnerships and alliances, which institutions build within their communities. And it's product pricing and positioning. And I think, we've talked a lot on the Pulse about how higher ed has some product challenges right now. And it's like, if you can find an individual to oversee all of those things, like right now, all of those things are there in their own unit and siloed. And a CRO is not a CFO or a COO. Like it is a different position with a different emphasis and focus. And I think that institutions that might keep their doors open for the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years are going to be the ones who really start thinking about revenue a little bit differently.
I love that. And I think that that gets back to probably a great place for us to leave today, which is that is such a fundamental foundation for trying to drive growth in an area of the market that is in decline, right? Like the total traditional undergraduate population is shrinking. And I think the idea of that focus on revenue in a more substantive way with a chief revenue officer role is so key. And I just think that like, even as people hear the things we talked about today, and I would encourage you to try the things we talked about today, nothing we talk about today replaces the fundamentals of a strong recruitment strategy. These are just sort of like helping you see what we are seeing, which is like the emerging fringes of this platform and opportunities. But don't forget the fundamentals in the process, right? Like don't go chasing one of the things we talked about today at the expense of like sending out recruiters and going out and talking to people and building relationships. So much of that still works, but in, a mature and consolidating market, which higher ed is at the traditional undergraduate level, the only way to grow is to take market share from somewhere else. And so it's not enough to be good. You got to be great. And so that does mean sometimes not just doing what you've done, but doing new things too. Mallory, love this topic. This is really fun to talk about. It's always good to see you. And I really enjoyed kind of unpacking this one this week.
This was so great. And listeners, you can look forward on Thursday to the next episode in Kin Sejpal's final Pulse Check series of the year. This one is on finding your why. And I think that, once seen as a no-brainer, the value of college is up for debate in the US. We know that. And that doubt spreads, with that public perception, starts to hit the hearts of those of us who work in this industry. And, whether you're in marketing or IT or advancement, we're all seeing the brain drain happen. So finding your why is here to come back to reigniting the passion that so many of us have that led us into this industry from the start. So you'll hear from leaders who are going to share their stories, and you can learn, from how they found their purpose and get some practical tips to help you kind of find meaning once again in your daily work if that's been something you've been struggling with.
Love it. That sounds awesome. I'm looking forward to tuning in for that one.
It's a good one. All right. Well, Seth, thank you so much. The amazing, incomparable Seth Odell.
Oh, Val, I appreciate that very much. The highly complimentary and always considerate Mallory. It's great to see you.
Have a great rest of your day, friends. You will find me at Ashley and Day's book launch tonight. Look forward to seeing some of that on social media. And folks, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. The Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our show helps higher ed marketers and admission pros find their next big idea and features a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Brian Gross, Eddie Francis, Jenny Lee Fowler, and so many of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.